Hey guys, Coach Coco here. Just jumping on the Monday Mindset Live. Wanted to see if there was any Q&A. Typically I schedule this earlier, but we just got done finishing up an open mat, finishing up a practice. So I wanted to show you guys what we've been working on. I wanted to go over any questions, talk to you about whatever you need. Hey Uncle Rob, how you doing? Hey Coach Mejia. Just got done coaching these guys. We're going on the Mental Monday here. Talk about mindset. There's a couple things I want to go over, and then we'll be on our way because it's late. See if anybody has any questions. Drop them below. We got the Clark Rams on. A lot of Ram power this evening. Team's looking good. Thanks, Uncle Rob. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys jumping on and supporting. Yeah, just going to give it a few, see who hops on, see if there's any questions. But big thing, Mindset Monday. Tomorrow is October 1st, so the college season starts in 10 days. And the high school season's November 18th. So there's going to be a little bit of time for the high school guys, but the college guys are about to get thrown in it. I think the biggest thing to remember is that, biggest thing to remember is you're not trying to peak for November or December. Especially in college, it's different than high school. The season is super long. So you're not just trying to peak for, again, November, December. You're trying to get ready for February, January, March. You got to be doing all the things that make you feel good. So a lot of people are like, what's that mean, feel good? How do you keep a team focused if they're just outdone? You got to figure out a way to motivate them. Coach Falcon, there he is. Let's see. Yeah, you have to keep them focused. You got to give them a challenge. But just like back in the day, Uncle Rob, the weight room is where the culture is built. So like all the work in the off season is where you build the team. The team culture should be built in the off season. So guys need to be getting along. They got to be working together. That's not something that's just built in one day, 1 week, 1 season. So really, this is the preseason now. The culture should have been established already, either when the kids start school in September or when the college guys get on campus in August. So all that stuff the groundwork is laid early on. It's laid, in the beginning. But yeah, kids burn out. Burnout is real to a degree. Of course, kids are going to be burnt out when you have them jog in a circle. A lot of these wrestling coaches are still doing the same warm-up from 88. Listen, I love 88, but I love it all. But you got to do everything. You got to hit them with the old school Gable style. You got to hit them with the funk. You got to hit them with Oklahoma State. You got to take all of the things from the greats and just take bits and pieces and then create your own formula, create your own voice. I think that's a hard part. People try to be somebody they're not or be a program they're not. You can't be Dan Gable. Like you have a lot of these high school coaches that are trying to be Dan Gable or be John Smith, or now, right? Everybody wants to be Kel Sanderson. Yeah, we're gonna let the guys do dodgeball every day and do whatever they want. It doesn't work that way. So you got to be you. You got to know what your program's identity is. You got to know what's up. Let's see if there's any more questions. Questions are good. Ask away. Hi, how are you? I'm well, thank you. No, I'm not interested. Let's see. Well, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so again, kids got to be allowed to come up with their own style individually. What's up, buddy? Just talking about how you got to be yourself on the mat. What works for one guy is not going to work for another, and that's okay. What works for one team out in Wisconsin is not going to work in New York. What works in South Carolina isn't going to work in Florida. What works in the Big 10 isn't going to work in the Big 12. So people got to know their identity. People got to know what works for them, where they're at. You also got to meet your guys where they're at. So what they're interested in, what they're good at. Can't force people into a box. They're never going to do well. You got to let them explore to a degree without going off the deep end too much. I think a big thing these guys got to start using is a journal. The journal is a powerful tool. If If you're not assessing, you're guessing. What does that mean? If you're not measuring your progress, then how are you going to make progress? If you don't know your numbers, then how are you going to do anything? Who we got on here? Coach, ask away, brother. Ask away. That's what we're here for. 5 minutes in, a lot of ground has been covered. Always got to do it live. See who else is on. Coach Falcon's on. Hey, Martin. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, next time I'm definitely, I got a good plan for this. I got a colleague who's really good with the prehab stuff. I'm going to tell him to hop on for us. I'm doing well, buddy. Thank you. Same old, just finished a practice, going working with clients, we're letting them know, doing weekly updates. They, he declined. They, everybody's in the same spot. It's Monday. Trying to get momentum. That's the key. You got to get momentum early in the week. And what else is better than talking about mental Monday? We're talking about mindset. So what can we do about mindset this week? Let's just focus on gratitude, getting better, what we're doing well. It's easy to think about all the things we got to work on. So better off focusing on 2 or 3 things you do really well and make that your strength, make that your area of focus. See who else is on. See who. Waiting for questions. If you have any questions, drop them below. Questions, drop below. Whatever's going on this season. Season's coming up. Hey, Coach Coco, long-time listener, first-time caller here. How important is the warm-up to a good practice? Oh man, this is a loaded question. The warm-up could make or break the practice. I think we spend way too much time in the warm-up though. Way too much time. So too much of a warm-up phase. I'm definitely a big believer in this though, especially earlier on in the season because you got to get them in shape. But I'm a big fan of those skill drills early on because you got to be able to get good at those things. Hey, coach, what type of mindset I need for rapid improvement? You got to have what's called a growth mindset. So you got to focus on the possibilities. Don't have an attitude of like, I'll never do this or, I'll never use this. Be open to new technique. Be open to new ways of doing things. Don't just shut them down. A lot of times when we're in a new environment, new people, it's easy to be like, nah, that's not for me. But be open-minded and try to be a learner, Think about when you were a kid and when you first started wrestling, like everything was new. Same type of attitude. You just gotta look at it as like a novelty. Like this is good, this is new, I'm learning, I'm getting better. The whole kind of mindset has to be around getting better and improving. Because the guys who stop improving, even if they're really good, they eventually burn out or phase off or they're not in the sport anymore. It's easy to get carried away and do a super long and involved warm up. I agree. Yeah, bro. Um, it's cool. Like in the beginning of the season, especially if you're a high school coach, like, you got to get these kids in shape, especially if they're coming off the couch. But maybe you have a mix of football players, or you have a mix of different kids in the college environment. I mean, they need to be getting into skills right away. Again, you only have them there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, so you got to get them into skill work right away. You got to get them better right away. Like every minute, every 10 minutes, every hour counts. So you got to maximize the practice plan. Got to have efficiency. We talked about that a lot. Efficiency, maximizing the practice plan, making the most of the guys you have there. Also, what's key is what Coach Jay used to do is pair ups, pairing the appropriate guys and rotating partners because like you can't have the same group going every day because then they get used to each other, they figure each other out, and then they plateau. So you have to keep switching up the training partners and you have to keep giving people different looks and say you don't have the numbers and the coaches have to go with the kids. Say you do have the numbers and have them rotate. One more thing. How do I prevent performance burnout during the season? Performance burnout. I mean, you got to think about it like every week is building on to the next. So like the harder workouts should be in the beginning of the week and the lighter workouts should be at the end. There's some literature I can give you. Hey, Jeff, sometimes you got to play matchmaker. How you doing? Yeah, I was saying I could send you some stuff on how your days should be. There's this theory. It's called high and low theory. So you'll have high days. Maybe you do 2 workouts, 3 workouts that day. Then you have lower days. Then you have high days and low days. So it's called high-low theory. It's very useful for wrestling because there's days that are going to be more intense than others. So it's just good to switch it up. And yeah, if you could, that'd be amazing. Yeah, shoot me a message. Shoot me a message. That's the beauty of the DM here. I'll send it over to you. I send it out to a lot of guys. So yeah, just taking it one day at a time too. Getting outside, like people have to use their space. Like say you're in the city or we're in the country, like you got to use your environment. You got to get outside the wrestling room during the season because every day can bleed into the next, and it could feel like Groundhog's Day. So, what's up, brother? Hope all is well. Oh, still being Coach Coco. Nothing changes. Same guy, same things. You know how it is. Keep working hard. Keep working hard. We want a sponsorship by Kettle Corn, Jeff's Kettle Corn. Put Coach Coco's logo right there down in North Carolina. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Coach Falcon, Martin, Section 1. Section 1, what's up? That baby blue singlet. Let them know. Gotta let these guys know. What do we got here? See if there's any more questions jumping on. Gonna stay on for a few more. It's always a fun time. Yeah, I was coaching, been doing a lot of different things lately, been up to a lot. So you see things from a different perspective when you take a step back. Not around, it's good to get out of your regular environment. That's the key. That's the key. That's the key. Get out in nature. Go to go for a hike. Go to Bear Mountain. I don't know. Go to the bridge. Go see the Hudson. Like, do you think we'll be seeing more wrestling programs? Come on, Coach Falcon. You're trying to really promote the content here. Of course, we're going to see more wrestling programs pop up in the South. Everyone from the Northeast is moving there. So you're going to have the PA families. You're going to have the Massachusetts family. We're going to have the Jersey families. We're going to have the New York families. They're bringing their culture down south. And with that culture is wrestling. It's not football. So, yeah, we're going to see the ACC blow up. Jeff Kettlecorn was just here. He's from Long Island. He just moved down to Raleigh, Charlotte, whatever. You're going to see these places blow up with wrestling. That's why NC State, I think, did so good. They were able to get a lot of kids from the Northeast. Parents want to retire, cheaper cost of living, different lifestyle, different change of pace, and they're just invested in athletics. I mean, we're so into testing here, and the education system is completely different. So, of course, athletics will definitely be put up. And the problem is that wrestling doesn't bring in bread like football and basketball. So that would probably be the next challenge. But yeah, I went to Greece. You go to Greece, you see the outdoor wrestling, you see Athens, you see the history, and you want to be part of it. There he is, the one and only Feliceman. How you doing? Love when people hop on. We're getting good ones. We're getting good ones here tonight. We're getting for a lot of friends. It's good to see. Good to see. I think we need to do a lot more outdoor training. I think our gyms are stifling us. The Blink Fitness, New York Sports Club, Crunch, wherever you are. These indoor gyms, it's not natural. There's no air. There's no windows. I love the D1 rooms with the air in the window. I think those are great. They have the nice sun view. You got to have that. It helps with morale. Morale, underrated. No one talks about morale. Keeping the morale high, keeping that camaraderie high. Who wants to? No, I don't know who you are. So I'll wave to you though. That's a big thing, right? I think they don't consider when you're in a high school, typically, high school program, these kids have gone to school together since kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, same culture, same upbringing, very similar. When you go into a college environment, you're bringing people from all different parts of the state, country, etc. And so as a culture, as a coach, you got to build that culture. and you got to break down those barriers because you got to remember these kids don't know each other from a hole in the wall. So you got to get them hanging out. You got to get them getting along. You got to build those bonds because that's where like quote unquote mental toughness comes in. Like, yes, we can build it through training, conditioning, pushing ourselves. But if you know your teammates and coaches have your back, you're going to be able to go that much farther and have that much more effort and aggressiveness and the right attitude because you know you're supported either way. So, very underrated part of mental toughness is having a good environment, good bonds, good brotherhood, good camaraderie, and keeping the morale high. You know, maybe one day you don't go on the mats. You take the kids in the weight room. Maybe you take them to the pool. Maybe you take them to run outside. I think the constant thing is with a 15-week, 100-plus day wrestling season is just variety, variety, variety. It's key. It's what helps keep the kids fresh, helps keep them preventing from burnout, like we talked about earlier. So variety is key. Variety is not a bad thing. You know, our brains and our bodies are smart. We've evolved all these years. So we adapt to things very quickly. We have to throw out, Chris, what's happening, brother? We have to continue to add variety, continue to add new stimulus because our bodies are smart and will adapt to the workout. That's why I'm not a big believer in like jog around the mat, cherry pickers. Like we did that and there's a place for it, but you need to do different warm-ups. Maybe one day you do the game, you know, you do certain like PE game. Keep switching it up. Hey Chris, how we doing? Any questions? Drop them below. Guys, I'm staying on for 8 more minutes. Take advantage of the fact that I'm on here. I'll answer all your questions. I think we covered a lot of good ground about culture and program building tonight and the difference between high school and college. So super good to see. Hey George, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for jumping on and supporting us. Any questions, coaches, drop below. Program building, strength and conditioning, nutrition, mindset, all that, all that good stuff. Mm-mm. So, yeah, where were we? Talking about the culture thing. Yeah, you gotta. The other thing too is that as the wrestling season goes on, the days get shorter and shorter, and when you're in the Northeast, like the sunlight diminishes. So vitamin D is a big factor, and and that's not something that's considered, right? Because like you could even factor in seasonal depression and different things. So we need to encourage these guys to get outdoors. We got to like maximize the good weather because obviously when January comes around, we're locked in. We're in the room. We're in the wrestling room, that is. We're not getting outdoors much. We're inside. All this plays a factor. The days getting shorter, the schedule being the same. If you're a kid in high school, you're at that high school probably from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. So we got to factor that in, right? You got to be able to throw them a bone once in a while and have some fun, inject some fun in there. You know, you got to be your own coach. You got to find your own voice. That's a big thing as a college freshman, which would be my expectation in the season. As college freshman expectation in season, you got to take it one match at a time. I know it's cliche, but you really got to buy into the process and focus on one match at a time, one lift at a time. You really got to dial in your dailies. Results wise, to be honest with you, the best aren't focused on results. The best wrestlers I work with, D1 guys, senior level guys, pro guys, like yes, you have your outcome goal. I want to be a national champ. I want to be a UFC champ. I want to be state champ, etc. But you have to focus on your performance goals. For example, I want to in 90% of my matches have a riding point. I want to escape 80% of my matches. I want to score 3 takedowns in the first period. So those are called performance goals. So you want to spend like 80% of your time focusing on the process and performance goals. So just like checking off your to-do list and going through the lifts you got to go through, extra workouts, runs, nutrition. Really, really invest the majority of your time in the process and ultimately focusing on scoring points and pinning people, and the results will take care of themselves. But it's good. You could set a goal like I want to be above 500. I want to place here. I want to do this. Set those goals definitely, but don't forget about what gets you there. And that's hard hand fighting, finishing takedowns, getting off bottom, Those are the three areas I see freshmen struggle with the most. So hand fighting, finishing takedowns, getting off bottom. That's something I've talked about on here. If you go on my page, that's key. So that's a big transition. That takes about a semester realistically. Like, people don't want to hear it. They got their work cut out for them. That's okay though. That's why we're here. As a coach, that's probably the last question. How do you keep track of your wrestlers' progress? How much of it is them managing themselves? This is a great question, Chris. This is age appropriate, so it depends on how old they are. How do you keep track of the wrestlers' progress? I'm a big believer in metrics, especially if we're talking about college guys. So I know I just spoke about focusing on the process and focusing on the dailies, but as a coach, not the athlete, they should know their kids' records. They should know how many takedowns they get, what their tendencies are. Does this kid get escapes off bottom? Does he get reversals? We have tools like Matt Boss, and I'm not affiliated with them anyway. We have different tools where we can actually track the metrics of what kids' their performances are. Do they typically finish single legs or high crotches? So we need to, as coaches, have that data. The athletes don't need to worry about this. The coaches should be assessing their wrestlers depending on what they do throughout the match. Like, does this kid get off bottom, or like, is he not good at getting off bottom? So how many escape points does he have this month of November? How many reversals does he have? Does he score with a leg right or a bar? So yeah, you're assessing, and just like we have like evaluation checklists, just like a trainer would assess form, with a squat, like, are their hips back? Are they going parallel? Are they caving in? And then you provide them with cues, chest up, back straight. Very similar overlap, but managing it themselves, yeah, they need to a degree. They need to meet you where you're at. They need to meet you in the middle. The coach cannot hold the athlete's hand and babysit them and just tell them what they want to hear. The wrestler, the athlete, doesn't matter, needs to meet the coach halfway so they can build and peak out together. It's a mutual, cohesive relationship. The athlete says an idea, the coach says an idea. The athlete has a question, the coach answers. The coach asks from the athlete. But again, it's a thing of respect, right? And like personal skills, interpersonal skills. So what I see, unfortunately, is a lot of teachers and coaches do not have interpersonal skills. So they might know their sport, or they might know their content area, but one, they sound like a robot and they're explaining it in like this high level fashion because they need a stroke of their own ego. And also, I don't know, it's just, you got to be a good person first. People will follow somebody who's a good person. I've noticed once you focus on that, a lot more things fall into place, you know? So be a good person, have good ethics, good values, good morals, stand by your principles. And those kids, they need that too. Younger guys, a lot of kids now, they're online. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. So you really got to know what your faith is, your morals, your values, and principles. I know it's not popular, but you have to. You have to know who you are and what you stand for. The wrestling will be easy once you have those things, and question everything. Even things you grew up, thinking, believing. Question everything. Be a critical thinker. Be an individual. Being that will help people more than learning a new single leg finish. I hope, at least. All right, guys, one more minute. I'm jumping off at 8. I have to have a life too, Anything else? This was a good one. I'm happy that I jumped on even for a little bit. So let's get that done. Let's talk soon. We'll be here another Monday, every Monday, Mental Monday. You can pop in. I'm hoping another guest. And it's great when I have someone join me. Like last week, we had Antoine. So hopefully, predictions for D1 this year. Thank you for your time, Coach. You're welcome. I'm happy to help. It's my pleasure, really. It means a lot. Thank you. D1 this year, Penn State again, and Oklahoma State will be like climbing. They'll be definitely climbing. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, you'll see them up here. You're welcome, Chris. Thank you. Dave, what's happening? But yeah, Penn State, maybe Iowa will be in the mix. It'll be the same thing that it always is. Penn State is head and shoulders above the rest of the circuit. It's 2 and 5 that are just fighting for their spot. So we'll see how it ends up. We'll be doing more of these. Don't worry. Take care, guys. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your support. Follow the email newsletter. Get in on the training programs. You know where to find me. See you guys.